This is the first time the boys are on Kratom.
I definitely really feel it.
It's a leaf. We took a leaf. We're vegan.
I'm just trying all these new plants now. I think maybe I clicked on your profile and I was like, dude, this is like the most jacked Asian dude I've ever seen. There's this book I read called The Tao of Poo.
The Tao of Poo?
Yeah. I know it sounds really funny. It's poo.
Taoism of Poo. So we are here with Devin Larscheid and
Oh, you said it right.
Nand Nanadeska.
Nondoneska.
How do you say your last name?
Mahasuan.
Mahasawan.
Yeah.
Mahasawan.
It's a lot
Is that
easier.
like Hawaiian or something? Or?
Thai.
Thai. Nice. That's
Yeah.
dope. That's
yeah.
dope. That's sick.
I always get Mahasuani sometimes. I'm like, how did you get all the extra syllables?
I get Larscheid. I don't know how they get an,
Larscheid.
I don't know how they get an L at the end there, but
What is it again? Larscheid or Larscheid?
it's Larscheid.
Scheid, got it.
Yeah, but everyone says Larscheid or Larscheid. I got Larscheid one time.
Weirdly enough, I've always said
Larscheid.
Larscheid.
Huh? You have?
Yeah, I've always said Larscheid.
Oh.
I read that way for me anyway.
Yeah, it's German, so it's hard to pronounce, I feel like. At least for a lot of people
Is that
looking
really
at
German?
it. It is.
I'm pretty good at German.
Oh, really?
9.
Wow, that was great, dude.
Thanks, bro.
Damn. Are you fluent?
Practice a lot.
Yeah.
But these guys, the reason they're on my podcast is these are my boys. These are my boys. And it's kind of funny because we actually met. Well, you guys can. I like it when you tell the story about how we met.
Yeah.
But essentially, these guys are like the social media content creators of the rave community. So I'm very proud of like the work they've done because
Thanks, man.
and even though it's a lot of fun content, it has they've definitely impacted a lot of people's lives and emphasizing safety and such and festivals and stuff. And it's like, are you really normalizing like going out and partying, or are you trying to emphasize things that are important in an activity that everyone is going to do regardless?
Yeah.
Especially in this day and age with TikTok and social media. Rebecca.
Becca.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yo, we need to get this on ours.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I gotta
Wait.
do that. I gotta get all the extra stuff on our mixer.
I know.
Like
We
there's
need-
options for it, but like let's get it repaired first.
I know. We need sound effects. We need.
No, we
like
have
a
them. We
Wow,
have them.
wow, wow.
We have them and you can just like press and get it
You
done.
got a sound effect.
Yeah, but it'll be our voices. It won't be like the actual sound effects. It'll be us making sounds of the noises that go on there.
Well, I think it's kind of funny that we started off this podcast with some pre-workout Kratom for the first time.
Yeah.
I was just kind of curious what my boys would feel. So
I definitely really feel it.
if you guys are wondering what Kratom is, it's actually a leaf. It's a leaf. We took a leaf. It's not like it's a leaf.
That's sick.
We're vegan.
I'm just trying all these new plants now. Just tried the Kana, which is part of the Party Caps supplement that we took the other day.
Yeah.
That's the natural MDMA.
Okay.
Kana's a root, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
It's a succulent plant in South Africa.
There's this spot in my college that is like the kava bar. So we actually had like this bowl that would be like the cloud kana or whatever.
Yeah.
You drink the whole thing and it tastes terrible.
It's
So it was like a nice like little, legal way of getting like a little head high so you can like get back to class.
Nice.
or not, or back to your bed.
Yeah. Well, they tried Kratom for the first time because so it is legal in California. I think maybe except for San Diego, but legal in California, legal in several states, quite a few states. I don't know what the percentages of America, but Kratom is a interesting substance. The way it works is if you take a very, very, very high dose, it can act as a sedative.
Yeah.
Give you like senses of calm and a lot of pain relieving. If you take it in a more like normal dose,
Yeah.
it can have stimulant properties. So that's something that I found really effective of it, is because if I don't want to be dependent on caffeine or my Adderall prescription, especially my Adderall prescription, I always want to make sure I don't exceed 5 milligrams per day, which I understand is a very small amount for most people.
Yeah.
Then this is a great way for me to kind of maintain my focus. It helps me maintain my focus in the latter part of the day without having to be worried about having to stay up all night because I drink caffeine or drink a stimulant like Adderall.
That's interesting.
I love that.
Because I'm prescribed technically 60 a day, 20 milligrams.
Takes
that's
so
insane.
much.
Yeah, 20
Adderall.
milligrams 3 times a day.
You're a fucking take.
Yeah.
But his ADHD is pretty like, I would say it's pretty
It's
on
not
the,
like
on the higher end.
Yeah.
On the higher end.
Well, I mean, keep in mind ADHD is now a spectrum, so it's ADD and ADHD, and I think I'm leaning more towards the hyperactive side.
Yeah.
Not much the inattentive side. Like I still pay attention, I'm still listening, but I'm just like on one, just constantly moving forward.
Yeah. Nan will like when Nan doesn't take his meds, he's like bouncing off of topics within like the span of 30 seconds, like 5 different topics.
That's so funny.
Yeah. And and then when he takes it, it's just like he's very focused and he can actually stay on one topic for an extensive amount of time.
I mean, to be fair though, when I don't take my meds, sometimes I can get the opposite effect of like hyper focus on something to like
That's true.
like, but it's like hyper focus on something I don't want to focus on right now.
Yeah. It's like OCD and like ADHD combined.
Yeah.
All the D's.
Ooh, that sounds like a destructive combination.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I have like a level of ADD as well though too, because like it can be really hard for me to focus too, especially when I read. It's so hard for me to retain anything when I read. I have to like read the same line over and over to like actually get it and absorb it. It's so weird. I'm like so much more of a visual person.
I actually have that too. I always had that as a kid. I was like the worst subject, my worst whatever subject in all those exams. What was it, like SAT, ACT?
Yeah.
Multiple choice.
Reading.
Yeah,
Easily.
dude. Me too.
Just like over and over again.
Yeah.
So you definitely might most likely have maybe like a little percentage.
Yeah.
I do believe most people are on the spectrum though.
Yeah.
So
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And then they just never learn, never get diagnosed, and they never know.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of people develop like habits, good habits that will help them work past a lot of these things.
Yeah.
I do too, and that's why it's a weird thing. You know, it's like, what is it? Are you diagnosing yourself with something that is absolutely true, or are you making it true by diagnosing yourself with it?
Yeah, like self-fulfilling prophecy almost.
Yeah.
Like, dude, one of my best friends got like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, after we had graduated college, he got diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and like none of us expected that at all. And it was almost like that diagnosis made it so much more worse for him, because like he just like his mental health just went down the drain after that. And like he went on all these meds, and then he found out this year actually really recently, a couple of weeks ago actually, that he didn't need to be taking all of these meds, and they were actually making like his mental health worse. So yeah, he had kind of like he went through like kind of like a slight crisis, and he was just like, yeah, dude, it's like so shitty. I don't even need to be taking all this shit. But then it's like, you know, my new doctor is like, yeah, like we're gonna put you on this, and then it's like so it's like, what the fuck was my old doctor doing, you know? And it almost makes you wonder, like, is it really like all true? Like, do people like even really have these conditions? You know, I don't know. Conspiracy.
I feel like you gotta like. I agree with you to an extent, only because like I've studied this. I've studied a lot of this. Like there are telltale signs, of course, and then there's like chemical imbalances in your brain and whatnot.
Oh yeah, like there ain't a doubt that everybody is built totally differently. You know, a lot of these diagnoses are very real, but I think putting it on the spectrum, and it's just very easy for someone to maybe use it as an excuse, especially if they were diagnosed at a very early age. So maybe they did never really practice any ways to help overcome that mentally, I guess I'd say. I was diagnosed at a later age, so I had to I spent a lot of like years just trying to like maintain focus and wondering why I wasn't like good enough, and why I wasn't as good as other people, and why I couldn't read and focus, and I just kept trying. But there were like different ways that I could practice, and I think I realize now that it has actually made me a lot more effective at communicating and focusing off or on the pill.
Yeah.
But when I'm on the pill, then it's just like, whoosh, you know, it's pretty sick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty sick. Yeah, I think I saw on like another podcast or something, I can't remember whose, but they were saying how it's almost become like a trophy to like have a mental illness, like people like use that almost as like a crutch for the decisions they make, or like for not holding themselves accountable to certain things. And I think that can be interesting. Obviously, I don't believe like completely in that, but I think it's like, you know, it's like what we were saying about like it being a self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, if someone diagnoses you with something you didn't know you had, to a certain degree, it almost like makes you think like, oh, well, I have this thing, so like that would explain why I did this, this, and this. But maybe it's not why you did those things.
Yeah.
I feel like it also comes down to like who chooses to let it become their identity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think, yeah,
I feel like that's the important thing, because like I'll use myself as an example. Like I was like diagnosed with ADHD and whatnot, and like I always knew I had it, but I never thought about, oh yeah, I have ADHD, because my parents actually didn't let me get medication or any of that stuff. I just had to work through it, and then I just noticed I had more energy than most people. I was like, cool, I just have more energy, have more you know, flailing around doing that like eccentric lifestyle. But it's just like for example, like take social media, like with these ADHD TikTokers. And I think they're really fun. They're very informational, but I could never do that kind of content too much, because I feel like it's not my whole identity. Yeah. There's more to me than, you know, the fact that I sometimes can't focus or sometimes I overfocus.
Yeah. You don't want to be known as the ADHD guy. I don't know.
Me.
You're not known as that though.
Luckily not, but in high school it was kind of bad. Middle school it was pretty bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. I had some back when I was a kid, I'd always get like the pink slip. I don't know if you ever had that.
Yeah.
I got the pink slip often. I would always act out, do something just out of pocket randomly that I didn't. I don't know. I feel like because my parents were very strict and then always like push discipline on me. But there was a lot of occasions where I would act out of pocket in class or something, or I would be loud, would interrupt the class. Yeah. Just a lot of things like that.
Yeah.
I just remember my head being in the clouds at all times, to be honest. I never paid attention once, like in the early years of school.
Yeah.
Weird.
For me, I just questioned. I questioned things all the time.
Yeah.
And like when you're a kid, teachers, adults, they don't like that. They don't want to be questioned. They always think, oh yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, why do I gotta ask for your permission to go pee?
Right.
Yeah.
I think, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, I actually, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but I worked with kids for like 3 years. I worked at first in elementary school, and then I worked at a high school. And when I worked at both the schools, when I worked at the elementary school, I was working in this program called Bridges, which is for the really, really bad kids. These are like I'm talking like the kids who assault their teachers, like they get kicked out of their schools for assaulting a teacher. So you have to literally learn how to put kids in holds and stuff when they act out.
No
and so,
way.
yeah, so I worked in a class with 4 other adults, and it was a class of 11 kids, and like each kid had their own like issue or whatever. And then after I worked there for maybe 6 months, and I was like, fuck this, I don't want to work here anymore. It was like really exhausting. And then I worked at a high school the next year, and that one was better because it was in a high school class, but it was also kids who were like the trouble students, but they weren't like to the point of, you know, assaulting us. So that was good. But one of the biggest things I learned though is just like, dude, a lot of these kids, it's like, they don't even mean to do it. It's just a product of their like home lifestyle or their parents. That was like the biggest thing I learned is like a lot of them, their parents suck. And like, that's half the reason why they are the way they are.
Honestly, it's probably more than that. You got to think about child behavior and like human development. Like a lot of not a lot, pretty much everything is like how you're going to act, how you're going to feel. Everything about you is going to be very dependent on how you're raising.
Yeah. No, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
And so I think that those experiences were put into my life to really like show me what it means to be an effective parent and kind of just like set an example, you know?
I hate to pause, but I'm going to ask for Becca for a shirt because I am sweating.
Are you? Okay.
I feel the Kratom now, by the way.
Fuck
it's dope.
Wait, how do you feel?
I feel pretty good. I feel like I see the focus that you're talking about.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like a little
kind of like it feels like a zone in.
Yeah, I feel like a little wired, but like not in a bad way.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool, and a little bit calm too, right?
Yeah, definitely calm.
Yeah,
Yeah. I like it.
That's dope, dude. Fuck yeah. I'm glad you guys like it.
Thanks. Yeah.
Just for the people who haven't heard of Kratom, just like any medication, drug, herbal, supplement, whatever, or anything, dosages are important. You can overdose.
Yeah.
And a lot of things that you might enjoy are all in a way psychologically addicting.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
just, you know, a little
Yeah.
exclamation mark to put in there.
Yeah.
Just a little thing.
I have a question. Would you say that you have like an addictive personality? Like especially when it comes to like substances?
It's a weird, it's a hard answer for me because I've found myself addicted to a lot of things at one point in life, but with all of them, I was able to stop.
Yeah.
Food, binging, nail biting,
Yeah.
Caffeine, Adderall, you know,
Yeah.
to be honest, ketamine.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things,
Yeah.
but all of them I've been able to stop and can stop it for a long period of time if I need to.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, I feel the difference when I'm not on it,
Yeah.
and it's going to suck for maybe a few days or for however long.
No, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I have the willpower to like stop when I need to.
Yeah.
But if I let myself start something regularly, I always feel the urge of like, oh man, I want this. I kind of need this kind of feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Interesting. Cause I feel like I've never had an addictive personality, but I feel like kind of similar where I feel like I let myself get into that state where I kind of convince myself that I like need this thing for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. So like, for example, in college, I kind of had like a stoner phase where I was smoking every night. And I was doing it because I thought that I got better sleep that way. And when it's funny, because I'm pretty sure it does the opposite actually.
Yeah,
like
pulls you out of REM sleep.
Yeah, it puts you out of REM sleep. And so there was one night where I think I just ate something that didn't sit with my stomach well. And I smoked, and then I also took like some NyQuil because I think I just wanted to get good sleep that night. And I hadn't been feeling like the best. And I woke up in the middle of the night and I just like puked my brains out. And for some reason after that, I was just like, weed bad. And so I just, ever since then, I rarely touch weed. Like me like high at after nocturnal escape. Right. Like that's the first time I've been like that high since college.
I think that's one of the big things. So I don't know if I'd say maybe I'm addictive, but I'm very easily. I have a high tendency to fall into like habitual patterns. Like nail biting. I don't know.
I've never seen you. I've never seen you bite your nails.
It's something I used to do a lot as a kid.
Oh.
Yeah. So I always want to munch on shit. I always wanted to like eat something. I always wanted to put something in my mouth, fiddle around with shit. Yeah. And it's like every time I didn't have food or something to snack on, I'd be nail biting. So throughout class, the entire day, I'd be nail biting. Like my fucking nails would be like almost gone by the time.
Damn.
Tren. Spirit.
Dude.
Guys, I'm poor.
Me too.
Extensively.
No one sponsors this podcast because no one watches the podcast. So
what you mean?
Yeah, so I had to fund this straight out of my living. So if you guys want to support the podcast and help it keep going, code Nyle for Young LA Clothing, which has a new drop twice a month. On average, sometimes 3 times a month. There's a freaking giant Black Friday. Actually, this is probably going to come out after that, but the Black Friday drops are just fucking nuts.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. And then huge supplements where I get my whey protein, my pre-workouts, my pump products, as well as a variety of other products. Even if you are on, say, like HRT or PEDs, they also have a lot of cycle support products as well that are good for protecting your organs. One, for example, called Vital, that is great for your cardiovascular system. So these can all be found on hugesupplements.com, and using code Nyle helps support me and the podcast. Yeah, so the habitual stuff, it was always hard for me to get out of these like bad habits.
Yeah.
So there were just things that I would always do, like nail biting and all this stuff. But over time, after like really trying to like stay conscious of all these things, I was able to, slowly stop these.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of if there's anything else that like I still have tendencies.
Yeah.
Like I love to snack, and I like, even when I'm not snacking or I'm not hungry or I've eaten a lot, I still want to like put things in my mouth.
Yeah.
So I know Nand earlier was saying that it sounds like OCD to a certain extent. And to be honest, I really don't know anything about OCD.
Yeah.
Never really studied on it. Never really felt like I needed to diagnose myself on it.
Yeah.
And to be honest, maybe I don't, because I've been able to overcome some of these things.
Yeah.
So I think that goes back to the whole like,
Yeah, what we're talking about earlier.
yeah. Is it a self-fulfilling prophecy?
Yeah. So interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. 'Cause I think, because I'm trying to think back to like habits that I have that are like that. And I don't know how they relate, but I know one thing I've always had is the leg shaking. So like, when you're sitting down and you start doing like this with your leg. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you ever do that, but I've always had that problem. I always do it. And I think it's like just a way for me to like release my restlessness. But I could see that like also being a side effect of like OCD, because I like feel the like need to release in some form or fashion when I'm like sitting down and not doing anything, because it's like it's movement,
Yeah.
I don't know. Interesting.
I find myself doing that too.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't know what that is, dude.
Yeah, I don't either.
I wish we had some expert to just freaking tell us right now.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm on the bench press, and like when I'm benching, I'm like doing this. It's weird. It's like it's almost more comfortable. It's like I have greater focus on what I'm doing in the rep when I'm like taking it's weird.
No, I feel that too, because when I'm like
bro.
editing and I'm doing it, or I'm like in like deep in thought, it's like I don't even realize until after the thought, or like after I like take myself out of that focus, that I realize that I'm doing
that you're doing it.
Yeah.
It's comfortable.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. Maybe I should have done my research more. This is probably OCD
Yeah.
or something. It's something.
We're just fucked up.
What's new?
I know. But yeah, I think I also always saw my dad doing it too, growing up.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but like,
dude, my dad has a cool one, bro. He fucking spins a pen around his thumb.
oh yeah, yeah. I learned how to do some of those too. Yeah.
I wish I could do it, but when he's doing it, it's clearly like, it's like subconscious.
Yeah.
It's like it's in his sleep.
Yeah.
Just in the middle of the night, he just grabs his pen and just goes.
Just has like 10 pens next to his nightstand.
When I was a kid, dude, I used to think that like after watching Death Note, maybe if I ate more candy, I'd be smarter or I could focus more.
That's so funny.
I know, right? So I'd like in college, I'd like, be what is it? I'd like pop like my Addy to study for like an exam, and then I'd probably like get some lollipops too.
Nice.
Like suck at those while I was studying.
Hell yeah.
Don't think it was that healthy. I mean, at least I had like glucose straight to the brain, but I don't know how effective that actually is.
Yeah. Well, sugar-free lollipops now, maybe.
Mollipops?
Mollipops? Oh yeah, our idea.
Yeah, Devin and I are gonna do this thing. And when MDMA becomes legal for purposes other than PTSD and or maybe we can sell it to
labs.
Therapists, psychologists, or whoever deals with those who have PTSD and want to go through MDMA therapy. We'll just give them mollipops.
That's
a
honestly,
lollipop with a little MDMA in the middle.
That's honestly not a bad idea. I think we're onto something here, bro.
All times of the day, every day at work, just sucking on a mollipop.
To any investors,
everything's okay. It's like I don't even have any PTSD anymore.
Yeah. just like ever so slightly on one. Oh man. Any investors that want to reach out to us and contribute, we'd appreciate it.
Pascal, if you're listening. We've done so much for you, bro.
I know.
Let's talk about you, dude. Let's literally just talk about you and introduce you to the community. So Devin is my freaking boy, man. We've gotten close like so quickly.
Yeah.
And this is great. I actually have a confession to tell you today.
Oh shit.
So maybe we should tell the story first. Okay. And then I'll tell you my confession.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I think I know what it is.
You tell me the story first.
Okay. This is how we met, right?
You might know. You probably know what it is. You probably do know what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. But first, I want to say like it's still pretty crazy to me that we've like pretty much known each other for like a year now, almost a year. Like, I mean, if you count the first time like we like talked in person and stuff, even though it has been a year, technically count, but like it's pretty insane, dude. Time
that
flies.
Is crazy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like I've known you for longer.
Yeah. I definitely feel that too.
Probably because we've spent so much time together.
Yeah.
Doing lots of therapies.
Yeah. Therapies. But yeah. So pretty much, so I found you on Instagram back in like June 2021. And it was because that was like when quarantine was kind of coming to an end. I was following following some other creators, other fitness creators, at home routines. And then I think I saw you like comment on someone's or something. And I think maybe I clicked on your profile. And I was like, dude, this is like the most jacked Asian dude I've ever seen. And I was like, dude, fuck yeah. Like we need more representation. Like, just as like, I don't know. I guess I hadn't been exposed to a lot of other jacked Asians. So I was like, damn. And so I started following like your workouts and stuff. And then I saw that you rave and I was like, oh, that's sick. Like I feel like that's, obviously that's something that I'm really into as well.
Yeah.
And so around November, we had Audiotistic. Mm-hmm. And then I think I like messaged you or something and was like, hey man, are you going? And then you messaged me back and you were like, yeah, like it's gonna be sick. Like, and then we talked for a little bit and then Audiotistic came and then Nan was also there with me. And I just remember going into it and I'm like, dude, I really want to run into Nyle. Cause like, he just seems like such a cool guy. And then like, your physique is obviously amazing. So, so we ended up like looking for you. We had some downtime in between one of the sets. And so we ended up like kind of just like looking around and we found you buying tacos in the very back of the venue.
Yeah.
And and then so I went up to Nyle and we chatted for a little bit. And I was just like, yeah, dude, like I used your code and everything. But I definitely got really in my own head about it because I think I was a little nervous. And then I think also there's something about just meeting people that you see online and like having this like idea of like how you think they're going to be or like, and I think a lot of times, if not all the time, it's always different from the way that you perceive people to be. And so I felt like in our interaction, I was like, I don't know, I felt like there was like something off. And I think I was like, I felt like it was me, like it was my fault. Cause I was like, dude, this is probably so weird. Like he probably thinks I'm like this weirdo. Cause like I went like looking for you at like this event, Yeah. And I remember walking out of it and I'm like, damn, like I hope I didn't leave like a bad impression or anything. And I also remember like thinking like, cause I feel like it was like, I don't know, the conversation felt very like surface level. And I think that's just cause like, you didn't know who I was and everything. And I remember thinking like, damn, like that it didn't go the way that had like wanted it to go. So I got really in my own head about it afterwards. And I was like, all right, well, if we ever run into each other again, you know, I hope that we can have a different interaction, you know? And then fast forward to March, we went to Beyond, and you went with Larry. And Larry and I had just become friends like in November. And then we went to Countdown, where we met up at Countdown together and we raved together. And then, you know, we quickly like started hanging out a lot. And when we went to Beyond, I kind of just rushed you into being a part of this video that I was shooting there called Rave Bro Goes to Beyond Wonderland. And you kind of just jumped into it. I had no idea what you were getting yourself into. And I was just like, all right, we're going to do this scene and it's going to be this. And I remember you saying like, I'll be a part of it. And doing this with your glow wand. And then after we went to like Kaiwachi's set, we went to whoever else played that night. And I just remember we had some like really heartfelt conversations. And I also brought up that time, that first time that we met. And I was like, dude, I really hope that I didn't like rub you the wrong way or anything, like, you know. And I felt like we really connected. And we realized that we actually have like a lot in common. And ever since then, it like everything just like it's so crazy. I feel like how it just completely flipped. Yeah. Like, and it was just like, oh, this feels right.
It definitely did.
Yeah.
It definitely did. And the thing is, this is what I always try to tell myself is like, if there's anyone out there that I want to speak with or that I want to meet with because I've maybe consumed their content to some extent. And so now I have some kind of interest in like their mind and who they are as a person or something like that.
Yeah.
Say that it's like a podcaster I look up to or anything.
Yeah.
The thing is that it's just our tendencies to protect ourselves.
Yeah.
Especially if you're like someone in like in LA or you have a lot of like, I don't know, you have a following or something, then you understand that maybe some people want to take advantage of you, quote unquote advantage, or some people just want you for that, right? And there's so many people in the world, so you only have so much to give. So I can understand in remembering situations like this that it's a very easy human tendency for us to want to protect ourselves.
Yeah.
Like the moment someone comes up to us, we don't really know what their intentions are. And it's always hard to tell.
Yep.
And if someone brings up something such as work or like collaboration or something, you immediately think all they want me for is the work, right?
Yeah.
And that's the sad thing is that a lot of the time, that's not the case.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, people, I mean, it's great. Like you should definitely be safer than sorry. I get that. But I think and I feel with the people I've been around, maybe I'm lucky, but most of the time, people just, if they're that interested in you, they want to like, they just want to hang out with you or they want to like, you know, just talk to you.
Yeah.
What's the better way to connect with somebody than to talk? And if they've connected with your content, then they definitely love to connect with you in person, right?
Yeah.
What if you guys have a lot of similarities and experiences that you're going through? Maybe you could help each other out in some sort of sense, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what I always try to keep in mind is that like sometimes I need to remind myself to almost like forget that like forget how do I put this? When I want to go up to somebody, I just want to like get to know them instead.
Yeah.
I've realized that it's been easy for me to just say like, oh, yo, dude, do you want to like do this video and do this, whatever? And sometimes I think it's no harm, no foul. But then I forget from the other point of view that that person could actually be thinking in their head like, oh, this person only wants to meet with me because they just want to, you know, do work.
Yeah.
Which I can understand. Even if that person has like, say like less to take advantage of or less to give.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a very easy tendency. So
yeah. Like it's easy to think that like, oh, they're just like using me for like their own selfish needs, which is like a really like, I think it's like exactly what you were saying where it's like almost like human tendency to just immediately think that, right? Because you don't want, like you want to feel valued for being you,
right?
And not for just like the fact that you can like offer something that maybe they can't get, right? Yeah.
a lot of people like there are definitely a lot of people out there that have this red pill ideology that the world sucks. I need to protect myself.
Yeah.
Girls only want attention. Take advantage of what you can. But I think I really trying to like speak from the heart about myself in this way, that I believe that I can continue on adopting this ideology of like love exists and love is the biggest thing that matters.
Yeah.
And that I can always suppress the human darkness that makes me want to believe that this person sucks and they just want to take advantage of me, or that this person simply wants me for my following and my status.
Yeah.
Suppress that, because I realize that in believing in love and that maybe this person wants something more fulfilling and maybe I can give them a chance, that I find myself to be happier.
Yeah.
I feel more fulfilled, and I think having a more positive outlook about the world kind of just makes me more excited about waking up every day.
Yeah.
Because if you're always thinking like, fuck, the world sucks.
Yeah.
How is that really going to benefit you other than motivate you to be better? Like, motivating you to be better is great, but in the end, if you've always motivated yourself to be better, but you never got what you wanted because the world has always sucked and you've always hated everything,
Yeah.
then what's the point in being in a world that you hate?
Yeah.
You know?
And I think that almost manifests what the thing that you don't want. Right.
Yeah.
So in that sense, like, to put it, for example, like with meeting new people, if you're always skeptical of people wanting to get something out of you when you meet them, eventually that's going to become like the truth. I genuinely feel like you will attract those kinds of people. And I'm really big on like law of assumption and all that stuff. So that might also just be part of like my belief system. But to the same degree, I also think that I have a belief system that is the opposite, where I feel like the people I meet, they don't just want me for like what I have to offer. Like, they actually are genuinely interested in getting to know me. And I feel like since I've adopted that mindset, I've attracted a lot more of those people in my life, you included.
That's so dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like this last year has it's been so eye-opening to me, because, everyone talks about how in LA people are shady and like people are shallow and they're only out to get what they want and they'll do anything to make that happen.
But the reason that's true is because that's what they believe.
Exactly.
So the reason that's true is because they're scared.
Yep.
And so in order to believe that you must believe that in order to take the precautions to protect yourself that way.
Yeah.
What if you just practice the precautions ahead of time? I had the red pill ideology throughout as a kid, my whole childhood. Through that, I have built these habits of taking precautions in that way.
Yeah.
Now I kind of act in that form and fashion without really having to think too much about it.
Yeah.
Which is why I find it easier for me in particular to still move forward in motivation, still be able to protect myself,
Yeah.
but be happier about the fact that I think the world has a lot of love and a lot of the people that are approaching me have better intentions than my darkness wants to believe.
Yeah. 100%.
I still, like, every time someone comes up to me, just like you, this is the confession, by the way.
Yeah.
So, Devin,
I think I know what it is.
Yeah,
but
I always told you that, like, you were overthinking things, and this is true. To an extent, you were, but 100% without a fact, the moment you came up to me, I remember looking at you and being like, thinking about the DM that you shot me, and I was like, this kid just wants to fucking shoot some content and collab or something, or this kid just wants to, like, this kid literally just like wants to like take advantage of my following.
Yeah.
And I tried to tell myself, like, just listen to what he has to say. And so we like talked and stuff, and like it wasn't a bad encounter.
Yeah,
because I don't even remember, to be honest, what we were talking about. All I remember is like, fuck, my friend over here is like my friend over here feels like shit, so I need to buy her some food. And then the second time around, I thought the video was a lot of fun, but it was kind of cool that we were all together, but that was like the most awkward like skit you've. I think that was the most awkward scene in the entire video, and probably one of the more awkward scenes I've seen in your videos in general. So with that being like the first impression of your content, I was just like, what is happening, man?
Yeah. To be fair though, the scene was supposed to be awkward. That was the humor in it.
Right.
But also like it was awkward because I feel like you guys didn't really know what was going on. So
I couldn't tell if did you do that on purpose, not telling us what was going on? Or
no, it was more just like I knew you guys wanted to go to wherever you guys were headed to.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to take up too much more of your time by trying to explain, because I just felt like that would have just, I don't know, it would have it would have like caused unneeded tension, you know. Right. And I didn't want that, so I kind of just thought about it before, and I was like, let me just make this as easy for them as possible. Like I'll just, you know, tell them what to do, and then all they have to do is pretty much just stand there and then react naturally. So especially with you, because we had that one part where I was like, you know, I like grabbed your like muscle or whatever. I was like, I don't want to tell you that I'm doing that because I want you to actually react like how you would. Yeah. But yeah, I think about that sometimes too. I'm like, this probably doesn't make me look any better than the first time we met, but it worked out. And the video actually turned out a lot better than I thought it would. So yeah.
I always wonder if these things reflect. I wonder if like us believing that somebody else coming up to us is there to take advantage of us reflects how we see the world. Like not reflects how of course it is, but of course it does, but more so like reflects how we act in the world. I've always wondered that. Like if I'm so nervous that this person is going to take advantage of me and simply is taking something away from me, when really if someone's adding me in their video, I feel like in reality, like I'm the one who's getting most of the benefit because they're putting in the work to like basically essentially shout me out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, and it doesn't take away anything from me.
Yeah.
Like being in someone else's video, I don't lose anything.
Well, I think it depends. I think it depends on how they decide to portray you.
How they portray you. That makes sense.
Because I did a video with Mickey actually before, and actually it was the first video I ever collabed with Mickey on. And I don't know if you know, but Jay and Mickey, they're a duo. So they run the channel together. They run Wonderly together. Wonderly is not just Mickey. It's Mickey and Jay. So I remember when we did it, it was supposed to be on like toxic rave girls or whatever. And the last scene was, it was like, you know, one of the toxic girls is like the girl who gets too fucked up at events, and then you end up having to take care of her. And all these girls are like hitting on me for each like different stereotype. And so for the last one, Jay had me, he had Mickey like fall on me because she's like too drunk. And he's like, and then just drop her. Right. And I was like, okay. So I did it. And then the way it came out in the video made it look like I just kind of, and like a bunch of people ended up commenting on the video too. They're like, wow, you just dropped her like that? Like, that's not very plur. And I'm like, shit. Like it didn't occur to me in that moment, but it was like, that does kind of make me look bad, you know? But it's not a big deal.
Was it not a skit?
It was a skit. So like in that regard, like, you know, people are taking it too seriously.
Because it was supposed to be literally just acting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it was like the actions that like, you know, Jay directed me to do, like some people perceived it as like, oh, this is like, you're not being very respectful or plur. Like you should be taking care of someone like that or taking them to the medical tent. And it's like, yeah, you guys are thinking about this way too much. But like, you know, that was the direction that was given to me, and there are people online that, you know, will perceive it.
Yeah.
Way,
that is fact actually.
Yeah.
That is actually absolutely true. I wasn't thinking about that when I said the thing earlier. You can't really control people's minds and perceptions of what they see.
Yeah.
The sad fact is everyone has an opinion. I'm thinking about the video where you and I were talking to those girls.
Yeah.
And all the incels wanted to jump on the comments and talk about how slutty everybody is. And
yeah. Or how's a drug dealer?
They just all have HIVs. Yeah. The drug dealer comments, those were all like,
oh, I thought
those were all like laughing at the fact that like it was said. but
Yeah.
the serious comments were just
Yeah.
kind of ridiculous, honestly.
Yeah. But I think in that regard, it's good to not like take it too personally or take it too hard.
Because the
know?
fact is that they're not being seen like that because of the video. They're being seen like that because of the person seeing them.
Yeah.
That's how the person sees them. They chose to see them that way because maybe it protects their emotions.
Yeah.
Maybe it protects their ego.
Yep.
And I mean, that's something that we can't control. And I guess we have to remember
100%.
that, you know, not to take those things personally.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree.
What was I talking to you about beforehand, though? About
we were talking. We were talking about the video that we shot at Beyond.
Yeah.
And I had a comment on this too, to one of your earlier points, just in general about like how you felt the first time we met, because it's interesting because Larry told me too that he actually kind of felt the same way when we first like started hanging out. But Larry also he feels like that with a lot of people. So it's kind of the same thing where his first reaction is to think that, oh, this person wants something from me. And I don't know like exactly where that stems from, but we've talked about it a bunch of times, how it's crazy how our friendship has progressed over the last year. And we always like look back and laugh on that because, you know, like I consider Larry one of my best friends, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, I remember like he told me, he's like, yeah, like, you know, he's like, I felt that way because like, you know, I was moving to LA and like, I don't know. He's like, I just feel like you never really know who you can trust. But like, you know, you've gotten me to like open up a lot more about that and to be more like allowing of people.
I can tell he is always very guarded.
Yeah.
He's very guarded. So I love the guy. I fucking love him too.
Man.
But I feel like even when I'm around him, sometimes I still feel like he's still guarded.
Yeah.
We've definitely like gotten a lot closer over the last year, and I'm really happy about that. But I can understand though, coming from where he's come from is somewhere similar to where I've come from too. And he hasn't had the beautiful opportunities that I have had to meet some amazing people that have changed my perspective.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big difference. I feel like I'm Naruto and he's Sasuke. I feel like I have to save Sasuke from the darkness. He's always so upset.
Yeah. He does have some parallels with Sasuke, but maybe a little less emo boy, you know?
yeah, maybe a little bit less.
But yeah, I do feel like I think just with me personally, I feel like I have, I don't know. We were, after Escape, we went to go get like shabu shabu, and we were just, I don't know how we got on the topic, but we were looking at like primal signs, I think, like astrology stuff. Mm-hmm. And each one of us were like looking up what our primal like sign / animal is. And mine ended up being a golden retriever. And I was like, and Larry, the first thing Larry says is like, that makes so much sense, dude. Because I feel like I'm very, I always go to giving people the benefit of the doubt and always thinking the positive mindset of whatever I perceive first before I like am skeptical about stuff. And sometimes that gets me in trouble, and I feel like most times it doesn't. Mm-hmm. And you know this because, you know, we talk about girls, and so you know how I'm usually like very like, oh yeah, dude, I'm talking to this person now, and you're always like telling me like, hey, just be careful, and like, you know, you give me like good advice to actually like think twice about stuff. And because I feel like because I have that mindset, that like just immediate positive mindset, I just kind of go into things sometimes without even thinking. And so while I think it's a good thing, it also has like drawbacks to it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think it's definitely reflective of just like the way I am. And I like try to always see the positive side of things, even though I do get upset just like everyone else. But I feel like that mindset has had, you know, a very positive impact on my life overall. And I don't know, maybe I just haven't gotten to the point too where like someone has like hurt me so bad to the point where like I would be a lot more skeptical when meeting someone or when making a decision. Yeah, I don't know.
I want to ask you something. Red pill and blue pill. What do you think about that?
What do you mean? Like,
What's your do you have a stance or any opinion regarding red versus blue?
oh no, I'm open to all perspectives. I feel like.
Yeah.
So I like to I don't know. I think that there are so many different ways to perceive one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it's like there's never really any right, 100% right way and 100% wrong way. I don't know.
No, I agree. Say that you're talking about politics.
Yeah.
Literally, majority of America, majority of the nation is literally somewhere in between with opinions on both sides.
Yeah.
So it's honestly fucking ridiculous that we have literally you have to choose this or this. Like it's absolutely ridiculous. Like you're forcing some people to abide and side with opinions that you don't even agree with.
Yeah.
Simply because you have to choose a side.
Yeah.
So I'm always curious why that's the way it is too, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really do too much politics. So
I don't either. I would consider myself a moderate. I have conservative parents, and all my friends growing up were all super liberal, especially in college. And when I worked at Steezy, a lot of them were super liberal. And I just remember when I did work at Steezy, it was always hard for me to even speak something from a moderate standpoint because they were so liberal there. They were so far left that I felt like I couldn't even bring up stuff. So usually whenever, I mean, it didn't happen often, but whenever people would start talking about politics in the office, I would just go do something else.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Would you say that you're red pill or blue pill?
So Larry and I actually, on the podcast that we had, talked about this pretty deeply. That was almost the entire podcast was our mindset and perception and relating that to whether or not we believe that males or females could be friends.
Oh yeah.
Males and females.
Oh yeah.
So,
I know this talk because Larry and I have talked about it a lot.
Since I already had this podcast or that podcast, I don't want to talk too much about it on this one, but essentially I believe I lie somewhere in between with habits. I know how to act. I know how to act in a way that benefits me based off of red pill ideology, but I truly believe that there's goodness in everyone and that we're just fighting a darkness.
Yeah.
I truly believe that every act I do should be in love.
Yeah.
And not for me, but simply for just the sake of the world, simply just because I think it's the best thing to do.
Yeah.
Maybe morally, but also just because I want to be able to put that out in the world. You know, I believe that whatever, if there's something I can add to the world, it's not hate. It's not negative. It's not, I just want it to be something positive. Yeah. You know, as an kind of like an example that I got from a lot of my best friends and those that I want to honor, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's it. So it's like, you know, I understand that a lot of people care about status. I understand a lot of people care about money. I understand that, you know, things like status and money is of greater priority when it comes to, for example, a female looking for a mate rather than, you know, when a male looks for a mate and a female, it's primarily based off of appearance that's related to fertility. But at the same time, I also know that love is one of the strongest driving factors.
I agree.
And love is fucking amazing. And I don't believe that I don't believe there's like a meter. I don't believe it can be emptied.
Yeah.
I believe we have, you know, as much work as we want to put in, we can continue to give that love. Yeah. You know, all that requires is our choice to put in the effort and put in the work.
Yeah.
You know? So I think as long as I act in that, I mean, I understand that it may take time to
Yeah.
build like a really powerful relationship with someone.
Yes.
And to make it more comfortable to give that love. But I do believe that in taking that practice, even when I meet someone for the first time, like thinking like, I want to care for this person's well-being and I'll give them a chance.
Yeah.
I will most definitely make sure to tread carefully, but I think I should give this person a chance.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think off your earlier point too, like you should always practice the change that you want to see, you know, in general. And I actually had a talk.
Sorry, hold on.
Oh yeah.
Let me press something real quick.
Oh yeah.
What were you saying?
Oh yeah, no, I was just saying like you know, you be the change that you want to see. And I was talking with Larry a little bit about it, or when we've chatted before, just about how like, you know, we've progressed as friends, how we all have progressed as friends, our whole group, even. I always like, I think my mindset is always like, with, you know, my friends, or even just with, you know, anyone you meet. I don't know. I just believe that you should always give first, and you should always give without the expectation of receiving back.
Yeah.
And I think that that really affects your relationships with people. And I would like to think that that's a big reason that I am so blessed to have the friends that I have today. You know, you guys, and I think about it all the time, honestly. And I'm just, it makes me really happy to think about that.
I absolutely agree with that. And I believe expectation is suffering.
Yeah.
So, and expectations are different than goals. Expectations are different than desired outcomes. So I think if people can like release the expectation, say that you're in a relationship, you can have a desire.
Yeah.
You know, you can have that, like, you want this to be in the relationship, or maybe it's a non-negotiable, like this needs to be in the relationship.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't, in my opinion, by expecting things from the other person, that takes away from the ability to be surprised by a gift from them.
Yeah.
You know, rather than see it as this person is giving it out of the goodness of their heart because they want to give back.
Yeah.
I think it is like an antonym to abundance.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like I agree, but also I think I'm trying to like put it into words in my head, but as I've like mentioned, I'm a big like law of assumption person. Like I live a lot of my life based off law of assumption, which, you know, is as in essence like what you assume will be. And so I think there's a difference between assuming and expecting. I think with assuming, it's more on the matter of I assume that, like, let's just say we're talking about a relationship. I assume that anything this person does is out of like the goodness of their heart. And I assume that, like, you know, that they are, I don't know, doing things in a manner that that would fulfill my desire, if that makes sense. Versus expecting, I feel like expecting is almost like this thing needs to happen or else. There's not as much of a negotiation. It's more of like if this thing doesn't happen, then like this is fucked. I don't know. I feel like that was a really terrible way of explaining that. But
Expectations is if this thing doesn't happen, it's fucked.
could not think of a better word.
Webster's new definition.
Next to expectation. Things better work out or it's fucked. But yeah, I don't know. I'm actually really interested to like are you like super familiar with law of assumption stuff?
No, I'm only I guess I'm only acquaintances with it.
For sure. I like that. I like that terminology.
To be honest, the only thing I know about it is that it's the law of assumption, like whatever you assume to be true.
Yeah.
Right.
That's essentially what it is, I would say. It's because there's law of attraction and there's law of assumption. And the way that I see law of assumption is I see it almost as like a subcategory to law of attraction because they are very similar. But the difference is that law of attraction is kind of, it's a little more unintentional than law of assumption. Law of assumption is more like, this is the thing that I desire and I know I will have it and I assume I will get it. So I end up getting it later. Versus law of attraction is more, you're putting yourself in the vibration, in the frequency of goodness, I guess, or just like you're putting yourself in a positive frequency, and that is what makes the thing that you want come to you. So they're like a little bit different, but I think the reason I gravitated more towards law of assumption is just because I feel like I have more control over the thing that it is that I'm desiring and striving towards, versus law of attraction kind of almost just feels like I'm just hoping for the best, and maybe that's not such a bad thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just feel like ever since I discovered law of assumption and started practicing it, I feel like it's had so much more. I've seen so much more, so many more results versus when I was really into law of attraction before. But yeah, I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The one thing that I have with the one caveat that I feel with law of assumption, in my personal opinion, is the tendency to have an expectation.
Yeah.
I just don't believe that like having an expectation on your result really is in any benefit to anybody. I just don't think it is ever. So that's kind of where the line is, and I'm a little bit confused on just how different it is to assume that something will be versus expect it.
Well, I think in my perspective, when you're expecting something, it's like the same thing we were saying before, where it's like, if this doesn't happen, like this is fucked. It's like, I think in law of assumption, you are assuming that your end result is true, like that's your truth, but it's weird because there's like this middle ground of like, if it doesn't happen, it's okay. So like, I feel like with the expectation, you're like setting yourself up for disappointment. But what a lot of people who I feel like coaches and stuff who preach law of assumption, it's always like, you're always assuming the thing that it is that you want to be true. And so, but in the process of doing that, you're not worried if your results or whatever is happening to get you there aren't happening the way you want. And I think that's the difference, is that when you're expecting it, you get really down when things aren't working out in your favor. Like you get really upset about it. You let it affect you, versus if you are truly practicing law of assumption. And I think this is where a lot of people struggle too.
You're saying when you expect things, then you get down when it doesn't happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, but I think like truly practicing law of assumption, it's more of the mindset of like, things are always working out in my favor. No matter what the circumstances are. There's actually a saying in law of assumption, which is circumstances don't matter. And so I think there's a lot to be said just about that mindset of, always just knowing that no matter what happens, even if it's the opposite of what I'm trying to achieve or what I want, like somehow, some way, this will work out for me. And even if it didn't, you wouldn't be upset about it. You wouldn't be down about it. So I think to me that's the biggest difference. But it's so difficult because like it's human nature to like when you do expect something or when you are trying to get something to just to get upset that you're not getting it.
Yeah.
And so it's really hard for people to do. I mean, I struggle with it too. But I think it's like, I just see so many parallels with other I guess, belief systems or whatever. There's this book I read in high school, and I actually reread it a couple of years ago called the Tao of Poo, and it's about Taoism.
The Tao of Poo.
Yeah. I know it sounds really funny. It's
The
poo.
Taoism of Poo.
It's because it's on Taoism, and Pooh is actually referring to Winnie the Pooh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yo, I've heard of this actually.
Yeah.
I've heard of this.
It's a book by Benjamin Hoff. It's one of the few books that I've actually been able to read and like retain every single bit of information because it was so interesting to me.
Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah. So the book is basically about how Winnie the Pooh is the prime example of an ideal human and an ideal human's mindset. And what that is I think they refer to it in the book as like an interchangeable key. So like the key can fit into anything because Winnie the Pooh never is doing anything with the mindset of, if I don't get this, then like all is lost, right? He always just goes with whatever. He adapts, and his perspective is never grasping onto the goal that he's trying to do. And so all the other characters in Winnie the Pooh, they all reflect other human tendencies, right? Like Piglet is he's like always worrying. He's always like freaking out about something, and Owl is like, tries to pretend like he's knowledgeable about everything when really he's not, and Rabbit is always rushing for something. He's always rushing and he's never in the moment. He's always rushing to get somewhere.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And so yeah, I know, right?
I'm going to read this.
Yeah, dude, you should. I highly recommend it. And so that makes sense when I think about it because the parallelism between Taoism and like Winnie the Pooh being the example of like, everything's all right. Like no matter what happens, like everything's going to be fine. It's going to work out. Goes with the same mindset of law of assumption, which is no matter what the circumstances are, things are going to be okay. In fact, better than that, this is working out in a way that I just can't see or perceive right now.
Oh, I see. That makes a lot of sense. So it's more focused on the things that are happening right now are contributing to that final thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. I guess it really just depends on how you look at what that one final thing is. If it's like at a certain time, and I feel like as long as you continue to have that law of assumption, no matter what, like even when you think it should happen but it doesn't, knowing and believing that it still will, and that's part of the game. Yeah, exactly. No, I understand that. It's very similar to obviously God's plan. I think there's a lot of ideologies that are similar to that law of assumption. Yeah. But that's definitely like a simple way of thinking about it for sure. I feel like there's something about, I can't remember what it is in Stoicism, but there's like believing that that the things will work out as well. I think. There's also another idea that's preparing for what is to come in Stoicism. Yeah. And so I can't quite remember whether or not the law of assumption relates, because those two are a little bit contradictory.
Yeah, in some ways, but they Stoicism and law of assumption do have a lot of parallels too. Right. I think one of the key differences that, at least that I know of though, with Stoicism is more, if I'm not mistaken, this might be wrong, but to my memory, Stoicism is more focused on like the things you can't control, are like, you let them go, like they're out of your control. Yeah. And with law of assumption, it's more of like, it's not necessarily that like things are out of your control, because law of assumption is more based off. It
sounds more like it's the things that you can't control are contributing to that final.
Yeah, it's more like so
giving reason behind it.
Yeah, it's more so like the things that you can't control that happen are a result of your inner perspective, like how you're choosing what your inner state is. So if your inner state is bad, then like these things that are out of your control might happen in a bad way. But if you are constantly in the state of, I think like you're good. I'm explaining this really badly, but if you're constantly in the state of like my inner world is good, then it's the opposite. Good things that are out of your control might happen. And so in that way, or the best way I can think about it is when you have a bad day and you start spiraling, you know, like you stub your toe in the morning, right? And then like the next thing you know, like, I don't know, you're like driving somewhere and you get stuck in traffic, right? And like they start out small, but then they start to get bigger and bigger the more you let
stacks on top of each other.
Exactly. The more you let yourself,
right,
like, your inner state be like bothered by these things, the more you start attracting these things that are bad, right? And like that's always been a super interesting concept to me because it almost sounds like some like voodoo magic, but like I think a lot of it really just boils down to perception.
It is. Yeah, it is. Absolutely. So the thing is, I don't agree with I don't believe in everything within law of attraction.
Yeah.
But it is clearly fact that by thinking positively, the outcomes are always better.
Yeah.
There's literally research on that. I don't know it. I can't cite it. No. But those that think more positively always have better outcomes.
Yeah.
And so it's not to say that, law of assumption or law of attraction is wrong.
Yeah.
But simply just an easy way to maintain that.
Yeah.
That mindset.
Yeah.
So
I 100% agree. I think the world will always be reflective of like your inner state. And so to that note, if you are a positive person and you always choose to perceive things in a positive way without being delusional, because I do think there is a difference. I do think that generally speaking, your life will be better and your outcomes will be a lot better.
I agree as well.
And you also save yourself a lot of pain too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the most powerful thing that someone can do is be able to turn that switch on and off, is to be able to be like a light switch on the things that you need. So if you need to like fuel yourself for a workout and think about your ex and think about how like the world sucks, so you need to become the best.
Yeah.
Then when you hit that workout, right when you get in there, look at the fucking mirror and tell yourself that I'm going to fucking become better and fucking feel yourself with this pain and then get the best workout in ever.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, turn that switch right back off.
Yeah.
Incorporate the mindset that the things that you want are going to happen.
Yeah.
Things are positive. You're now fueling your body. So you're now making those gains that you just whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's really important to be super fluid.
Yeah.
Because that's how life is, right? Ever changing.
No, 100%. You know what's interesting though, is I've thought about that too, where like, because I've had the same moments where like, I've gone to the gym and like needed some motivation. So like I'll start thinking about like things people have like said to me before that like might have hurt me, in the past.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I feel like those things actually, like, to your point of like it being like a light switch, it's like I'm thinking those things with the intention of becoming better. So because of that, it's not like I'm like going into this like really dark place that might spiral.
Right.
It's like I know that I'm using these things right now as motivation to get better.
Yes, and absolutely. Because here's the thing that I think people forget is that all that matters is right now. And you forget things like that. Things change in an instant.
Yeah.
So by going to sleep mad because you looked at TikTok and someone looked better than you and you fucking hate the world because no one gives you attention.
Yeah.
That's not going to fuel your workout the next day. What you think about at the workout is going to fuel that workout.
Yep.
Like what you think about by making the decision to go is what you need to do. Like it's simply like you just need to fucking make the decision to go and use that to fuel your workout. But like you don't have to like prepare that thought.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it doesn't serve you the night before. It just makes you go to bed like fucking pissed
upset.
off.
And you probably wake up upset too. Like
So
so interesting, so deep.
So deep.
I love talking about this stuff though.
No, me too, man.
I barely get a chance to talk about it anymore. My friend and I were actually, one of my friends from college, I got her like super into law of assumption, and we were like chatting about making literally just making a law of assumption podcast where we just
That'd be
talk
so
about,
cool. That'd be funny.
Yeah.
Interesting shit. So, kind of off topic a little bit, but what got you into doing the content that you do now, and how has your life changed from it? Because I'm assuming that, I mean, at least it'll go a little into, you know, the way that you've used law of assumption to create the life that you want.
Yeah. So originally I wanted to be a director. So I in high school I took a film class, and I loved it. And film is also kind of run in my family a little bit. So my mom was an actress growing up, and she was going to be a news anchor. And then she had me, and then completely flip-flopped and became a financial advisor. Don't ask me what the what the decision on that was. But and then my uncle, who is not around anymore, but he was actually a screenplay writer for the show ER, and because he's also a doctor. And so, so he wrote a lot of like screenplays. He helped produce the show. And my real grandpa, who I've never met, my mom has never met him either, but he was actually a famous actor over in China. And he acted in a few films here. One of them was like, some people might know it, well, if you're older, but it's called like Donovan's Reef. He played like the Chinese butler. So it's weird how it kind of has like small like influence on my family. But I always wanted to direct ever since I took that film class. And I always wanted to like make stuff that made you feel something. You know, I always thought that was like super fascinating.
That's dope.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
I think that's the biggest driving factor in creating the best content you want, is like just coming from a pure place of creativity within yourself, whatever you want to create that like makes you happy.
Yeah.
And wanting to share that with other people through, in carrying emotions.
Yeah.
I think that's how you really grow, and like honestly just blow up if that's what your intention is.
Yeah.
I think that's the only reason why I blew up. And to be honest, I'm kind of having ideas of like going back into trying to do what I originally always loved to do.
Yeah.
And that was creating those workout montages.
Yeah.
The only reason I went away from that is that, one, it's not so sustainable, is because I have to edit everything myself, right? Yeah. And that takes so long. And then the second thing is I wanted to connect with my audience in a different way, you know?
Yeah.
Like, unfortunately, the audience I have is like, it's not a bad thing, but it's so international that it's a good percentage of them have trouble connecting with me.
Yeah.
A lot of them just can't even speak English.
Yeah.
So I think making that change in my content it's been weird, man. It's definitely affected the social media and the engagement a lot, but remembering that doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah. I think in the long
really
run,
doesn't.
It's better for you though, because also like I've always had the belief too, just that like you want people at the end of the day to subscribe to your personality and you as a person, and not your content, if that makes sense. So I think the content helps get people interested, but I think it's the personality that keeps them. So I think when people see you and they like you for who you are, that's the thing that keeps them around, not the content that you make. And so I think to that degree, I think what you're doing with this podcast and with some of the new content that you've made, I really, really support it. Because
thanks, bro.
I think it's gonna like really work out for you.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm sure people probably see a big difference in the way that I'm in a lot of my podcasts versus like my YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And that's because like when I'm doing my YouTube videos, I drink a lot of fucking caffeine, and then and then it's like, it's kind of weird. It's like nothing about me really changes, but like when I'm more upbeat and happy, then it's easier for me to joke around and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's some podcasts like the ones I did with my boys, like the Bachelor guys, where I'm like, it's like I'm just like being myself and I'm like joking around. And there's a podcast like this with you where I don't know, I feel very, maybe it's the Kratom too, I don't know, but I just feel more serious.
Yeah.
I just you know, we didn't have any intent to talk about this stuff that we are talking about right now, but it's definitely stimulating to me.
Yeah.
So
no, for sure.
not like I want to stop. So going off of you wanted to incur emotions in the content you're creating. I think you're doing a wonderful job, dude.
Thanks, man. But it's crazy because I didn't consider being a creator until after I graduated college. Before I get to that, like I've always watched YouTube. Like I've always been a very avid watcher of like other creators that I like looked up to a lot. You know, like Ryan Higa.
Yes.
I really looked up to Jimmy Tatro, who was like probably my favorite creator overall, like looking back at everything. Cody Ko, like
oh wait, no. It was Sony. Okay. Michael was the one who said that Jimmy was in his fraternity.
Yeah. Cool. And so and I think so what happened was when I graduated college, I got set up with a meeting with this executive producer for William Morris Endeavor, which is one of the biggest talent agencies in LA. And so the meeting was I just wanted to ask like what he thought the best way to break into the film industry would be as someone who was just graduating from college with a, you know, visual media / film degree. And so when I talked with him, he was telling me that he was like, do you have any friends that make content or like who are might be big on the internet or are trying to do that? And I was like, yeah, actually I had a friend from high school who blew up. He had like blown up on YouTube maybe like a year or two before. And we weren't like good friends, but we knew each other. Like we knew each other and we had chatted like multiple times on social media before he blew up. And so this executive producer, he told me, he was just like, a good way to make it nowadays is to gain an audience or to also gain like a portfolio. And in the process of gaining a portfolio, you also gain an audience, because when you have an audience that supports you online, it's a lot easier for people to notice you, like in the film industry, right? Because they might take a look at your profile and be like, oh, like, you know, this person first off, they've done a lot of work, but they also have a lot of people who like, you know, fuck with their work, right? And so he basically told me, he's like, if you have any friends that are like that, you should try reaching out to them and maybe just offering to help them with some content. So I did. I reached out to my friend. His name's Berlin. He goes by Berleezy on YouTube. And so I reached out to him and asked him if he wanted any help with his projects. And so I was supposed to help him for a project, and then it just never happened. And it was like the end of 2017. And I had just done, one of my friends from college, we did a film competition together for Aperture Lights. And I made this 1-minute video that was supposed to be, the challenge was you use music to like make your little sketch or whatever. You had to like use this platform they were trying to promote at the time. And I made this like 1-minute sketch on how like, I don't know, it was like my dad like gets cancer, and it's like the message was to always, you know, appreciate your loved ones because you never know what might happen to them. I'll have to show you sometime, or I'll show you after this. But yeah, so I had just come off of doing that, and like I scripted it. I like wrote this. I wrote the storyboard for it. I did all the planning, and then my friend who was also doing the competition with me, he helped me. And after I did that, I was like, I feel like I could do this myself. Like I could make content myself. And I was like, well, I mean, I might as well give it a shot. So I ended up just deciding, I was like, instead of, I guess, like making videos for my friend, I was like, why don't I just make videos for myself, you know? So I ended up, that's exactly what I did. And the next year, 2018, I made a YouTube video every weekend for like the next 8 months. And I'm talking like I scripted it at the beginning of the week. I wrote a storyboard. I made a shot list, and then I somehow scrapped together actors for it. And like I didn't have like, none of my friends from back home did that kind of stuff. So like I would just literally, people with no acting experience just ask like, hey, can you like shoot this video with me? Or like people who had no camera experience. I was like, hey, can you like help like man the camera and stuff? Like I'll kind of teach you how to do it. And I somehow found people to do it. And so whenever I look back on that, I'm like, I can't believe that I did that, because that's like, it's so much work. It's so much work, especially with like scripted content. And so anyways, I did that for a while, and then they kind of turned into, I started making 1-minute sketches for Instagram. And none of this was rave related until I think it was mid 2018. I made a video on EDC. It was like ravers after EDC, and it was just like a compilation of like shit people say after a rave, right? And I figured I had enough rave experience at that point to actually make content on it. And that was the first video I had that blew up, and it got like 120,000 views on Facebook, which is like so funny to me. Like it's like, who even uses Facebook? Exactly. And so since then I was like, wow, there's an audience for this. Like there are people who actually enjoy this kind of stuff. And then I did some more research on it. I'm like, oh, there's really no one making content in the space, in the rave EDM space. Mm-hmm. So I started making those more frequently. And then 2 years later, right when I had gotten my job at Steezy, which is what helped me move out here to LA, I made the decision that I only wanted to make rave content, because honestly, it was the content I enjoyed making the most. Mm-hmm. And the year before that, I was still making my videos. In fact, I was making videos every weekend with my cousin-in-law, Noah Grossman, mm-hmm. who is one of the actors for Smosh, if you've heard of Smosh. Mm-hmm. And the thing is like, we were making videos, and that's actually what blew me up originally on TikTok, is that those videos, I posted them on TikTok, and maybe because Noah was in them, but I ended up getting a lot of followers, but they were all kids. They were all like high school kids. And that wasn't the audience I wanted, you know? So I kind of relate to you when you were talking about how, like, you know, like you have like this, you have like an audience that you love and appreciate, but like, you know, sometimes you wish you could connect with them more. And I felt like I can't connect with any of these kids really. Like it's not the people that I want to be making content for necessarily. Mm-hmm. And so that was part of what influenced my decision, that like, oh, I only want to make rave content because I love ravers and I love EDM and I love the space. So I made that decision, and it was tough in the beginning because in 2021 in June, I got fired from Steezy, and I decided that I wanted to try and do content full time, or I wanted that to be my goal. I knew it wasn't going to happen right away, but so when I made that decision, I hadn't posted on TikTok for like the whole year I was working at Steezy, because every time I would post rave content on TikTok, it would never do well. And it would never do well because I had kids following me. Like, they don't fucking know what raving is. They don't know, make drug jokes. It goes right over their head, you know? Mm-hmm. And so I just told myself back then, because my back was kind of up against the wall, you know, didn't have a job. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to keep making the rave TikToks and videos until it works. And maybe like a month later, they actually started like gaining some traction.
No way. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So, I know that was a really long-winded story, but that's
awesome, bro. I'm glad you told me that. I relate to that in an area for sure myself.
Yeah.
There's a moment where I was making the exact same kind of content constantly. It was those workout videos and swipes, and I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna catch on, and then before you know it, just blows up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I think that's the one thing though that I'm realizing that I'm having trouble with now, is now that I decided I wanted to diversify my content. There's no piece of content that I have that I'm just constantly still doing, except for the podcast. The podcast will always be consistent, but aside from that, like I can't think of any. Like my content's so diverse now that there's nothing that I can build it off of.
Yeah.
And so people are just getting a chaotic feed, and a lot of them aren't interested in some of this stuff, and you know. So I wish I could literally just start like 10 different profiles for 10 different types of content.
I know. It almost feels like that's what you have to do.
Yeah, I think it is, honestly. I think it is.
Yeah.
Because you care about the people that consume your content, and you want to make sure that they're getting the stuff that you want to put out that's tailored to them.
And also the algorithm, just like that. I feel like that's just the way that it works too. You know.
I like kind of I've taken power away from the algorithm in my mind. I kind of just stopped giving a fuck about the algorithm, honestly. That's why I don't really shoot so many reels out on Instagram as much. I do the workout swipes because I know that a lot of people want to be able to see the full form. And it's easier for them to see everything.
It is.
Yeah.
As someone who follows your workouts, it is. It's way easier.
Right. So I honestly don't really care anymore if the reels have been getting more likes, more engagement, whatever. I don't really care. Like if you guys if people who are consuming it like the swipes, that's what I want to do. Now I just need to still edit them.
Oh, the editing grind.
I want to manifest a new editor.
I
need
know.
3 editors, bro.
I know,
I need 3
dude.
different editors.
Yeah, for me, it's like for me right now. I'm like splitting some of the podcast work for our podcast with my old roommate, who I actually met through Steezy.
Mm-hmm.
We worked together, and then we moved in together because we just got along so well.
Mm-hmm.
And so right now he moved to Seattle, but he's helping me with the social clips, and he's like also a good editor. Like he kind of knows how to do everything. He's very good with equipment and stuff like that. He also produces music, so he kind of like does.
That's cool.
He does all that stuff. But even with that, taking like some of the work off of me, it's still a lot. And like to have to like worry about that and do that, and then also worry about the videos that like I want to put out, because I try to be as consistent as possible, and then I have to like also cater to a lot of like the brands that reach out to me, and I know like I have to do like however many other like brand deals, and I have to think of something for that. It can get a lot,
Yeah, for sure.
I just feel like I'm always editing something.
I couldn't relate to you more, bro.
Yeah.
I'm gonna click this button one more time, and then we'll wrap it up.
Sounds good.
So
What a night.
So we might have just lost all the footage in one of the cameras, which is awesome. Exactly what I wanted for tonight. And then
Get it together, Sony.
Sony.
I
And then, man, I feel bad, bro. This isn't something I'm going to keep a secret, though. So our poor Nand didn't have the best experience with Kratom for the first time, which is kind of surprising because you just got. That's kind of surprising because you literally. Ooh, you sound good. You kind of just got. You only took 3.5 grams, about 3 grams. So it's kind of surprising that it was so hard on you. But I mean, then again, you said you didn't eat.
Yeah.
Right. God, that sucks.
Didn't have enough to eat. It's just very dependent on stuff like that.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense considering like Kratom is a lot more effective when you're on an empty stomach after like say 2 to 3 hours. The more like empty your stomach is.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense because since it's a powder, and then I drank it immediately.
Yeah.
I've been out on a full 16 ounce of water too.
Damn.
Yeah, I always feel like it's different though, because like
I was very awake though. I was listening to everything you guys were saying.
Oh really?
I was just scared to fall asleep.
Yeah.
Nanda's just turned into L.
For real. You look like him right now. Wait, let me give you
L
the
is
phone.
literally my role model, bro.
You know how to hold the phone, right? Yeah. Yep. Someone get this man some desserts.
You need to play in the real live action, like the good one.
Yeah.
The next one.
We want to make a rave like times Death Note crossover video at some point.
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
Devin,
Dude, you need to just.
Devin, the word is parody.
Parody, sorry.
I know you're doing all those. I know you've been doing, focusing on the shorts, but you should really just. Wait, do you post your shorts on YouTube?
Yeah, I do. But I think the problem, at least, I don't know, maybe this is just like a limiting belief I have, but I feel like the rave community is not super active on YouTube, which is why my shorts don't really do as well.
But you've been posting them ever since.
Yeah, I started posting them in like maybe like March of this year. but I don't feel like any.
And you post every single one?
Yeah, pretty much. And only 2 of them have like gotten over 10K views. And the rest of them kind of just are, they don't do as well. But I think.
How many subscribers do you have on YouTube?
Not that many. Maybe
Have you,
like 2.1K or something.
okay. I mean, the other fact of the matter is that if people are consuming your content off of, the thing is, if people are consuming your content off the other 2 apps, they're not like, they don't have any reason to go to your YouTube. So I truly believe, bro, like you should start doing the skits that you want to.
Yeah.
Like on YouTube. That would be super sick. And then you can always repurpose those.
Yes. Yeah. Like longer content.
Yeah.
Longer content that you can't find.
Is that the air fryer? Yeah.
LOL. I will agree with Nyle on that too, because I've been thinking about the long form content we used to do, and fully scripted content too. Like for example, I just posted something the other day where it's fully scripted. It did great.
Yeah.
It did phenomenally. I feel like the shorts, the creative stuff that we do with like the TikTok style of using an audio, all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's great for attaining reach. But the fun stuff is when we can write some things.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
It's just so much more work. And
not
that I'm like turned away by that, because I love it. It's just I just feel like the shorter stuff, the shorter videos and the TikToks and stuff is better right now for sustainability in terms of gaining an audience like faster, having more exposure in a faster way. Because when I was doing the longer skits before, like they would do great, but it doesn't Becca, it doesn't like, it's just because you have to put in so much more work over like a longer period of time, the payoff isn't, it's just not as good as with the shorter videos right now.
Yeah.
Or before, sorry. But I do feel like actually now, if I were to start making the longer videos again, they would do way better, because now I have a much bigger audience than I did before.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, face the facts on it too. It's just like with shorter videos and all that we do, it's TikTok, Instagram, all that. They're big on quantity.
Yeah.
They want you to just get things out.
Which
a whole bunch
sucks.
of things. And then with like longer form content.
You're saying like TikTok will do well if you like shoot out a lot of content, like quality, like a lot of
like
quantity.
3 videos a day kind.
Yeah. They push for things like that. And because like
I really don't think it's going to affect you in the long run, though. I don't, like a lot of people are like, oh, you got to like be consistent. But consistent.
That's not what I mean. That's what I mean. I mean like us it's just easier to shoot a bunch of small ones than to sit, really script something out. Because remember the other night when we were like playing games and stuff, and I wasn't even paying attention. Right. So I was like scripting everything fully out so I could do a longer form original content idea.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of like given for any situation or any person though? Like the shorter clips are always just a lot easier to do than
to produce.
Producing, you know, a whole full video.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, it's a matter of factly. Like there's no like argument here. It's just, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The short stuff is just easier to do right now until we get to a place where like I can do all the fun long form stuff.
Yeah.
Well, telling you this now, as I was telling my younger self a year ago, bro, it's gonna pay off if you just start.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. Yeah.
You already got the podcast though going, so maybe that's your first step.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also I just quit my editing job that I had. I was editing for another company. I've told you before, but I was like editing their social clips, and I did that for like a year, and that was kind of like my financial sustainability.
Survival.
Nice.
For survival,
Okay.
yeah. And so I just put my 2 weeks in like a week and a half ago. So,
okay, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. So I'll have a little more time to actually do that, and that was one thing I wanted to do more of. Yeah.
Okay, well, we got to cut it.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate because I feel like most of the stuff I wanted to talk about we never got to. Which is
shit.
exactly no, not because we literally were just flowing, which is awesome.
Okay.
But like all the things
And
I
I
wanted
just
to
came
talk
back to
about,
life.
like I just wanted to, yeah, exactly. Like I wanted to hear about both of y'all's lives and like your purposes and all these things, and just go more in depth to you. But we kind of just talked about the shit we were thinking about, which honestly is probably better because we can always do that stuff later.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was kind of dope.
Yeah, maybe we can do this again.
Yeah, this means you guys are going to have to be back on the podcast for sure.
Well,
So-
maybe not when I'm like napping.
Yeah.
For, like,
So I got a question for both of you guys.
Yeah.
So first question, if you're to die tomorrow, what would you do right now?
oh, I actually have an answer for this. I've thought about this before. First thing I'd do and call my mom right now. If like I knew right now I was gonna die in 24 hours, period. I call my mom. I'd want to talk to her and hear her voice. I wouldn't like, I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to go to Europe. Yeah, it's going to take at least like 10 hours to get to Europe. No, like I think I would do whatever presently I can do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not worry about it.
The question is just what's the first thing you would do?
Oh, the first thing.
Sorry.
Oh, I thought you.
I didn't phrase that right.
Yeah, call my mom.
Call your mom.
Call my mom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think I would do the same thing, but I would call all of my friends and see if we could at least have like one last gathering or something, so I can at least spend,
What a Devin.
yeah,
What a Devin
with
thing.
the people I care the most about. So
Call together a gathering.
yeah,
I would summon
Very
them all.
fitting. Very fitting. Very
golden
fitting.
retriever vibes.
Gotta summon the fam.
Yeah.
I thank you for that, by the way, bro. You've always been a person to bring everybody together.
Thanks.
You really create families. You created a family, so
Thank you, bro.
something I thank you for.
That means a lot to me, actually.
And then second one is if you could have any superpower in the world, what would it be?
The ability to speak in any language known or unknown to any creature and anything. So basically, I'd be able to speak to any animal, any human, any alien, any computer, any I'd be able to speak in math. I just love the idea of like perfect universal communication to the universe, to living creatures.
That's fucking sick. That's super dope.
That seems like such a fitting superpower for you. It like makes so much sense to me.
Yeah, that's dope.
I was gonna make a joke on one, which is gonna be the ability to not have to sleep ever and be fine.
Oh my god, dude, that's so you too.
But
you guys, that's so funny.
But
That's why I love asking these questions.
but the one I've always wanted is I don't know, just why I just think it's like one of the coolest superpowers. But telekinesis, I think, is like always been so
Move shit with your mind.
Yeah, you can move shit, and like also, have you ever seen the movie Chronicle? It's like of the three teenagers who get superpowers. They get telekinetic superpowers, and the whole movie is shot in first person, like it's shot through like a handheld camera or whatever. And so it gets really deep into like
It's
The superpower movie, right?
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
it's
I've
like a
watched it.
realistic one.
Yeah.
you
I watched
know?
it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it was super sick.
Yeah.
I don't remember all of it, but
such a comment. It's such a social commentary movie too.
It is 100%. But that ever since that, like, because one of my other ones was I always wanted to know how to fly, or like that. I just think flying is like super cool. But like if you have telekinesis, you can fly because you can just make yourself float.
Yeah.
So I thought that was super cool. Maybe that movie influenced me a lot more than I
so
thought.
so is it telekinesis or the power to not sleep?
Oh no, the power to not
have
sleep
to
was
sleep
was
anything.
my joke. That was like my joking one.
You sure? I feel like that's a more effective power in this day and age.
Within our industry, yeah.
You want something fun that I learned in school? Depending on if it's obviously it's like what's the first superpower that pops in your head? There's a meaning behind it. There's a reason for why you chose that particular power. Like for example, someone who says like super speed. They're probably someone who's usually late all the time, and they're always feeling like I just can't get to the places I want to be. I want to be doing all the things. There's just too many things they want to do. And then there's like, I don't know, like flight. People who just want to escape, all that jazz.
That's why we asked this question, then.
Yeah. It speaks. I mean, that's why I think your superpower speaks volumes for you, because I feel like you're very like big on communication and being communicative with people
And just being able to connect,
Yeah.
because like you could be in the same room with 1,000 people, but if you're not connected with anybody, then that's just an object.
Yeah. What would yours be?
Mine was to teleport anywhere at any time, whenever.
Why?
Just so I could instantly do what I want to whenever I need to. I can go to Korea and see my friend Mel when she was there. I can teleport to Sony's house because you'll never leave.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You just don't want to be trapped to one place. You want to be able to be free and go anywhere.
Yeah, I want to be able to go anywhere because I think travel is like, I feel like travel is my biggest crutch if I want to do anything.
Yeah.
And then also like having to deal with like fucking like security and going on flights and all that shit and your baggage and all this shit. It's like it's like I have to carry a million things with me.
Yeah.
If I could just teleport myself and my things, whatever I wanted instantly, would be dope.
Yeah. And you'd save so much gas money.
So much gas money, bro.
Have you seen the movie Jumper?
I was literally about to bring that up.
Yeah.
Jumper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Well, would you want to be able to teleport, or would you want to be able to create like wormholes that you could walk through?
Just teleport. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. I just want to get somewhere. And then last question is, if you could send one message to every person in the entire world or universe, like saying that you were going to die tomorrow and you had this one last message, what would the message be?
And like they'd believe it. Would it just be like they see it, or would they like okay?
It's just a message.
Fuck bitches, get money. Just kidding. No. I think it would just be spread positivity, and I mean, how long is like it would be spread positivity, and also what we talked about earlier about give before receiving, and give without the intention of expecting to receive back.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
And I know you just, ever since he made the L comment, I just like.
I feel like it'd be something along the lines of like, just keep going.
Nice.
Keep going.
Motivational.
That's perfect.
Yeah. What's yours?
I always wanted to think of a better way to phrase it because it's very cheesy. And I feel like if it's less cheesy, maybe it might be a little bit more believable.
Yeah.
But it's love will solve your problem.
Yeah. I don't think that's cliche.
I don't think that's cliche
Yeah.
at all.
The cliche one was love's the answer.
I still don't
but-
really think it's like that cliche. I
Yeah,
think there's a
yeah.
lot of meaning behind it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
You could phrase it like
Fucking.
everything comes down to love, something like that.
Yeah.
There's the fun fact. There's actually an acting class I took that like the way you act, everything you do, always use love to fuel your decisions.
Yeah.
Love would like be angry because of love, be happy because of love, feel lost because of, like your actions because of the loss of love.
That
or
makes
the,
sense. Yeah.
The absence of love, the too much love, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where can we find you guys?
You can find me on the interwebs at Devin Larscheid on pretty much any platform. I'll let Nanda say yours too.
Oh yeah. You can find me at Nan Mahaswan on Instagram or Nan the Rave Dad on TikTok.
Yeah. And then we have a podcast.
Yeah.
A Ravers.
I'm Peaking Pod.
I'm Peaking Pod.
I'm
Check
Peaking.
out their podcast. It's absolutely amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very transparent, and it's a lot on safety as well.
Yeah.
So,
And
all
we
you
did just have
festival
you on
goers-
it.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
Facts.
That episode will probably be out by the time this airs. So
It was a good
Yeah.
one. I loved it, bro.
yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Excited for it.
Very fun.
Okay, cool. Everybody, thanks for watching again. If you guys want to support the podcast, the best way to do it is just to subscribe to the YouTube channel and then rate 5 stars on Apple and Spotify. If you do want to further support the podcast, then you guys know my code with my my personal sponsors fuels my living, which I pay for it, the podcast and the edit and everything and all the equipment and stuff. So, and then finally, if you're feeling symptoms of low T, then I do really recommend you guys get your blood work done. I had a lot of depression because I didn't realize my testosterone was plummeted. But when I was able to find out that was the issue, either PCTing or TRTing, regardless of what it was, bringing my testosterone back to normal range was literally the fart.
It's been a long night.
Yeah, it has been. Was literally the solution that has changed my life. So, Trenscend HRT, the link below, that's my bodybuilding-friendly clinic. You can get a lot of men's health optimization treatments, such as treatments for erectile dysfunction, hair loss, PCTs, TRT, and more. Healing peptides as well. So that'll be in the link in the description. And thank you guys again for watching. Devin, Larscheid, Nand Mahasakoan.
Huh?
It's close.
That's pretty much it.
Mahasawan.
Okay. Thank you guys.
We'll see you guys next
Love
time.
y'all. Peace.
Wow.